Good morning, student. In our last video, we are discussing about leadership. Leadership means it is the quality of an individual to influence other peoples to cooperate toward the achievement of some common goal. And the leaders means to lead a group. And for a good leadership, we require good leaders, good followers, and common purpose. And the role of leaders, quality of leaders, and creating leaders through physical activity. This thing we have discussed in our last video. Today we will discuss about adventure sports. Adventure sports activity are the risky and dangerous activity which are mostly performed in the natural environment. These are the activities which give us exciting and unusual experience with uncertain outcome. Means adventure sports are the activities which we perform in the natural environment, and the outcome of adventure sports is uncertain. This adventure sports is also known as extreme sports. In adventure sports, we compete with the natures rather than competing with the others peoples. Usually in game and sports, we compete with the competitors, and in adventure sports, we compete with the natures. It is not a competition. This adventure sports gives lot of excitement, thrill, increase anxiety along with self-esteem. Adventure sports adventure sports is not adventure sports is not just for fun. It also helps to improve confidence in you. It's also have to improve confidence. It will improve motivations, and it will helps it will in, it will increase your courage to face difficulty in life. If you have any difficulty in your life, you can easily overcome the difficulty of life. The outcome, adventure sports we perform in the natural environment, and the main is the outcome of adventure sports is uncertain. Therefore it is very dangerous activities. We require in we require um, we require strength, endurance, speed, etc. Adventure sports, as adventure sports activities in which high risks of there is in adventure sports, there is high risks to the participant. There is too much risk to the participant, and and need to store mental makeup. Therefore the participants should be mentally prepared to overcome the situation, to overcome the emergency. He should be mentally prepared for the situation. These activities, nowadays these activities are very popular, especially among the youth and media, and it increased the tourist industry to new height. Adventure sports are different from traditional sports. These activities are usually competitive in nature and involves risks and excitement. Means adventure sports, there is lot of risks as well as it will provide you excitement. Adventure sports, it's a bold activity which involves hazardous, dangerous actions, and the outcome is uncertain. The main thing is in adventure sports, we compete against the natures, and the outcome of adventure sports is uncertain. Therefore, it is a very dangerous activity. Therefore, for adventure sports, you should be mentally, physically, emotionally prepared. Some examples of adventure sports are like mountaineering, rock climbing, trekking, sailing, river rafting, paragliding, etc. These are the some adventure sports. Let's discuss about objective. What are the objective of adventure sports? The first objective of adventure sports is minimize the pollution. As adventure sports are performed in the natural environment, therefore it will minimize the pollution and uplift natural environment. Protection of wildlife. This activity create awareness among the people to conserve and protect the wildlife, because the peoples, by participating in natures, the peoples get aware about the wildlife. Therefore it create the awareness to save the wildlife. Use of natural resource. For adventure sports, for performing adventure sports, we use natural resource. uh, we use natural resource. Therefore it create a sense for proper use of forest natural resource and avoid the deforestation. Understanding the natures. By performing the adventure sports, we understand about the beauty of natures and also guide us to conserve the natural resource. Healthy activity. Adventure sports is a healthy activities. Today youth is reflected toward the health hazard like drugs, alcohol. Thus youth can be encouraged. Therefore today generation peoples should be encouraged, motivated to participate in the adventure sports rather than unhealthy activities. Information about area. By performing in adventure sports, the individuals gain knowledge about the area and its topography. Leadership and togetherness. Adventure sports helps to create leadership ability in an individuals, also develop togetherness among them, because adventure sports are performed in a group. Therefore there will be the togetherness, feeling of togetherness between them, and also that they get a chance to become a leaders. Therefore the leadership quality develop in them, and there will be the proper coordination among its members. Develop physical fitness. Adventure sports develop the physical fitness of an individual, that is, it's help in the development of speed, strength, endurance, coordinative abilities. Physical fitness, develop the physical fitness. Moreover, it's help the person to feel the person. It also help the person to face the challenging situations of the life. Give thrill and recreations. Adventure sports give uh, thrill and recreation, excitement, develop the spirit of risk taking, because the outcome of adventure sports is uncertain. Therefore it develop the spirit of risk taking in the individual. Overcome problems and develop creativity. Adventurous activity to uh, give us idea to overcome the problems and experience to deal with emergency and the problems. It develop creativity in individuals, overcoming the problems. Adventure sports helps to overcome the problems and also develop creativity idea in the persons, in the individual. Organizational skill. Adventures activity helps to improve your organizational skill, which are the importance of life. It's bring creativity, your organizational skill develop. Encourage tourism. Adventure sports encourage the tourist and gives the, if it encourage the tourism, there will be the large participation of the peoples in the adventure sports and give jobs to the individuals. It can be a profession to the many. Consider safety tools. Adventure sports. In this activity, the safety tools and safety means are considers importance. Therefore it helps to create safety tools. Knowledge about forest resource. Adventures activity helps to understand the forest and give us knowledge about the forest resource and their use. Give us knowledge about the forest resource and their use, proper use of the forest. These are the objective of adventure sports. Let's discuss about some adventures activity and their safety equipment. First, rock climbing is an activity in which participants climb up and down across the natural risks of formation. Okay, rock climbing means climbing up, up, down, or across the rock formation. The goal of rock climbing is to reach the top of the formation or the end point of a predefined route without falling. The goal of the rock climbing of the individual is to reach the top of the rock formation or the end point. Where is your goal? To reach that point and without falling. For a successful rock climbing, you must have a proper knowledge of the climbing, proper technique, good strength, endurance, coordinative ability, balance along with mental control, etc. You should have proper knowledge. Equipment. What are the equipment required for rock climbing? Rock climbing, it is a dangerous activity, therefore you should have proper knowledge of climbing techniques, how to climb over the rocks. You should have proper technique and how to use the climbing equipment, knowledge about using the climbing equipment such as uh, safety. Climbing equipment are required for safety, such as equipment like climbing shoes. There are different climbing shoes, climbing chalk, climbing rope, harness, clippers, bells, safety hook, helmet. These all are the equipment for the safety equipment for rock climbing. Next is mountaineering. Just like in rock climbing, mountaineering is climbing over the mountain. Okay, mountaineering or mountain climbing is an age-old activity of climbing up or scaling the steep spurs of mountain, the side in the hoop, or reaching the summit or topmost, reaching the top of the mountain. For mountaineering also, mountaineering you should for mountaineering you should require a good experience, good physical fitness. You should have first, before mountaineering you should do a training of high altitude training. High altitude training. Okay, you should have high altitude training before doing the mountaineering. And technical knowledge of maintaining safety. Technique of mountaineering. Equipment. First equipment required equipment tools are climbing shoes, snow counters, climbing ropes, nails, hammers, clippers, belly, device tracking, belt, climbing helmet, safety hook, gloves, high energy, packed food, etc. Compass, etc. These all are the equipment which are required during the mountaineering. Trekking. Trekking is a long adventurous journey undertaken on foot in area where common means of transportations are generally not available. Means it is a walking activity, long journey. Trekking is a long journey undertaken on the foot where the transportation facility are not available. The people's walk The peoples walk a long journey in the natural environment. Trekking should be used in a natural resource and consider safety principles. The trackers should enjoy the mother's nature. He enjoyed the natures of the mothers and take the photograph also, the scene. Photograph photograph of the scene of beauty. Tracking. The tracker should not spoil the natural environment. Trackers should not spoil or disturb the natures where the fauna and flora should be appreciated. It should not pollute it. And equipment for trekking is the trackers should prepare properly for trekking, and they should carry important required materials like tent, because it is a long journey and they have to do 2 to 3 days of walking. Therefore they should take a tent for the sleeping bag, water bottles, mug, pen, rope, safety kit, first aid box, tracking map, of the area, compass, etc. This all are the equipment. Next is river rafting. River rafting is also named as white waters rafting. It is a challenging recreational outdoor activities. Usually all the adventure sports we perform, it is a outdoor activities. This river rafting is a water game in which the raft is a lightweight multi-layer rubbish boat filled with air is used. In raftings, the raft is like a boat. It is a lightweight multi-layer rubbish boat and it is filled with the air, the chambers enabling it, and there is a chambers enabling it to float on the waters. This is done usually on the over fast flowing rivers or the stream. Just like here, this is a raft, this is a boat, and this is a chambers, and this has to this is a river raftings. These are usually done over the fast flowing rivers. River rafting, it is done in the fast flowing rivers or the stream. In order to provide this river raftings provide thrill and excitement, and it also helps to enjoy the free times, give recreationals, and it has become popular in the Himalaya rivers. This river rafting is very dangerous, and if safety measures is not considered. Okay, river rafting is a water game. It is also known as white waters rafting. It is a challenge recreational outdoor activities using a boat, that is raft. Using the raft is a boat made of multi-layered rubbish boat filled with air, and it is done. River rafting is done in the fast flowing river raft or the stream. Equipment, first is you require a raft. Safe raft means boat, swimsuit, life jacket, raft push, knowledge of swimming. The first is, for doing any water activity you should have proper knowledge of swimming, and following the expert of lifeguard instruction, knowledge about river flow. To you have a proper knowledge about the flow of rivers and its cure, safety dimension, safety destination point, etc. Next is surfing. Surfing is also a water sports in which the wavers, the waver riders, refers as surfer, ride on the moving waves balancing on the surfing board. Okay, this surfing is also a waters game in which the surfers ride on ride ride on surfing board, balancing balancing on the surfing board. And this surfing is usually uh, this waves usually carrying the surfers near the shore. The waves suitable for surfing are primarily found in ocean. This surfing is mainly done in ocean, sea, lake, or in rivers in the form of standing wave or tidal wave. Equipment: first, surfing board. You should need a good surfing board, swimsuit, life jacket, etc. Paragliding. Paragliding is a ridiculous thrill and competing adventurous sports of flying with paragliders. In paraglidings, you fly with the paragliders, and paragliders is a lightweight, free-flying, foot-launched gliders aircraft with no rigid primary structures. This is a paragliding, and with the help of these fly gliders, you fly. The pilot, if you have knowledge, you can um, you can fly without the help, or the pilot sit on the harness suspended below the fabric's beam, consisting of a large numbers of interconnected and baffled cells. Wings are shaped in a wing shape is maintained by its suspensions line by skillful exploitations of source of lift. The pilots may gain the height, often often climbing to altitudes of few thousands meters. The paragliders should follow the instructions of the single lifeguard or should be accompanied by expert. He should consider the safety measures during the activity. What are the causes of sports injury? Every sports every sports person is prone to accident or injury, irrespective of preventive sports step or physical activity. The cause of sports injury are: the first is lack of fitness. If the persons have lack or less physical fitness, then the chance of injury is more. If he is not physically fit, healthy, then the chance of injury is more. Poor concentration. If the person is if the persons have poor concentrations, if he is not mentally ready, if he is not giving his full concentration in the game, then it leads to injury. So have a proper concentration over the activity. Over stress or tension. If a person is psychological unbalanced means mentally unbalanced. If he is overstressed, tension, then there will be the chance of injury, accident. Not performing warming up. If the person's not perform warming up, if he don't do any warming up before the any activity, then it leads to injury. So do a proper warming up. Increase your body temperatures to avoid the sports injury. Equipment failures. Fault equipment or failures of equipment. If your equipment is fails, if the equipment is not good, then it caused the accident. Faulty skill actions. If the player performs faulty skill, if your skill action is not good, unbalanced movement while playing, or uncoordinations among the movement, then there is a chance of injury. Not following the rules. If you not follow the rules and regulations of the game, and also not follow the command of the codes, it leads to injury. Aggressions of violence. Aggressions of violence during the game is also the cause of injury. If the person is more aggressive or more violence, then it leads to injury. So don't be aggressive, be patient. Poor playfield. If the playground is not good or not as per the rules of the game, then the chance of injury, there will be the chance of injury. Not considering safety means. If the persons does not consider the safety means, if we don't use safety equipment, then there will be the cause a chance of injury. Not wearing protective guard, not wearing protective guard or not considering the safety equipment. If the person does not use any safety equipment of that game, whatever the game the players is, the individual is playing, every game has their own safety equipment. If the person does not wear the safety equipment, then it leads to injury. Wrong training methods. If the person use the wrong training methods, poor training, or sometimes do a overtraining or over exertions, means over stress on the muscle, it leads to injury. Wrong treatment of injury. If there is a wrong treatment of injury or incomplete treatment or ignorance of previous injury, and or the players play without a full recovery from the injury, then also it leads to um, next is safety measures. What are the safety measures to prevent the injury? In game and sports, the 100% of prevention is never possible, but it can be prevent or minimized by considering this safety step. In game and sports, 100% prevention is not possible, but we can minimize by following, like proper warming up. Before doing any activities, do a proper warming up. If the persons do proper warming up, it will increase the body temperatures, as well as it prepare the players psychologically, physically, mentally, and there will be the less chance of injury. Medical checkup. Before participating in any activities, have a proper medical checkup. uh, they must they must be physically fit for participations. Only after the advice of the doctors, then only you participate in the activity. Proper concentrations. At the times of participations, have a full concentrations, full alertness, proper concentration over the activity. Whatever the activity you are doing, have a full concentration over that. And you should not have any stress, tensions. You should be mentally ready for the activity. Safety guard and safety equipment. Use a safety equipment or safety guard and have a good quality of equipment, good quality of safety equipment. And before going to the tournament, do a proper checkup of the equipment. See that if the equipment is right or wrong. Have a proper check of the equipment before going to the tournament or activity. Regular conditioning or proper skill. Have a proper conditioning. Regular conditioning improve various ability of the players, like proper skill actions, develop specific physical compositions. It strengthen the weak muscles, joint, etc. So have a regular conditioning, regular training. Sufficient physical fitness. The person should have sufficient physical fitness. Players should have sufficient level of physical fitness. Thus, players should develop them through a regular conditioning, through a regular training. You can develop your physical fitness. Physical fitness means your Strength, development of your strength, endurance, flexibility, coordinative ability, etc. Consider safety means. The players who consider the safety means proper training equipment, sufficient free space around the play field while performing the any activities. At the times of performing the activities, consider the safety means. See that the training equipment have a proper training equipment, and there should be a sufficient space, sufficient playground, sufficient ground for the activity. Proper and safe environment. Safe environment prevent accidents, whereas unsafe environments may cause accidents. So play in the safe environment, safe and healthy environment. Activity under expert observations. Always do a physical activity only under expert observations like coach, teachers, instructors, trainer, etc. Good coaching skill. You should have good coaching skill. Follow the rules and regulations. The players should follow the rules and regulations of the game and play the games with a true spirit of true sportsmanship spirit. Consider the sports ethics. Sports ethics means consider the sports principles. Play according to the sports principles and sportsmanship spirit, like friendly attitude. Play with a discipline, controlling aggressive and violence. Try to control your aggressiveness, violence during the game. Proper training methods. Have proper training methods. Have proper training methods, and don't do overtraining also. Over exertions of the muscle. Don't put extra pressures on the muscles. Have sufficient training. Follow training principles. Do a training in a progressive manner, step by step, in a progressive way. So follow the training principles. Don't do overtraining. Balanced diet. Take a proper balanced diet. Eat a nutritional food and make a good positions of the body. Knowledge of health education. You should have good knowledge of health educations as well as proper knowledge of first aid, so that if there is any emergency, you can handle the situation, you can handle the injury also. So you should have knowledge of the first aid to give the first aid to face the emergency of the injury. Training regard safe escape. You should have proper training regard the safe escape. This all are the, if there is any accidents, you should have safe escape. If you should have training, if you have knowledge about the safe escape, then at the time of accidents, disasters, or at the time of any something situations, you can easily escape from that situation. So you should have knowledge regarding the safe escape. This all are the some uh, safety measures to prevent sports injury.